So, good afternoon, friends. As we I was also one of you when I was I joined online 16 batch, and when sir organized a one-on-one talk with the students. So I was like, okay, this is something very inspiring. So most probably in future we might get into that place as well. So I was really hustling over that period of time since it was my second attempt when I was looking, I have made certain mistakes in my previous SSB. So now I have to work on it. I was being told about this coaching center, Mars, by my two friends, and one who has been recommended, and he's serving in army right now. He recommended me that yes, you can join this, and it was too fast. I was literally hustling for it. So I talked to sir once, and then he said, okay, in another 5 or 10 minutes, I'm gonna take your interview. And I was like, okay, I was not at all prepared. And then suddenly he shooted 20 questions at me, and literally I was not even able to answer four to five questions. I literally, mixed up everything. So he was like, Muskan, I think you need to really work hard. You There are many students who have been working since 4 to 5 years, and you really need to know everything, and you have to work very hard. And that was a first setback, that okay, it's gonna be difficult this time. And secondly, my center was Allahabad. That was another nightmare for me, because I heard from people that Allahabad is known for its rejection center, and I said, okay, this time it's gonna be very, very difficult. But then I joined the very next day, and they started off. Since I was very weak in my physical activity and I was not able to do the four to five obstacles in my last SSB, which was in September 2020. So I joined gym for that, to keep myself, fit, to do the push-ups and to have the strength, so that I should able to do the basic obstacles there. So my routine was like that. From I used to wake up by 6, and then by 6:30 I used to go gym, and by 8 I come back, and within half an hour I get ready for the class. And from 8:30 till 4:30, sitting at the same place for it was a mind hustling sessions, one after the another. Even if you and that 15 minutes ka break, it literally gave. I never took 15 minutes in my life to finish my food. So this was another very difficult moment कि अब 15 मिनट में खाना कैसे खाऊं मैं ऐसा कभी नहीं हुआ है टीवी के बिना कभी देखा ही नहीं कभी खाना ही नहीं खाया. And that changed my life, and today also I do the same thing. Then I take it to the journey, then every day something or the other happens. And best thing I'll tell you guys, the thing is getting a thumbs up from sir. That was something again very difficult to get it from him. Maybe sir ko expectations zyada thi ki you should have done better. But then every time I used to fight with myself, why I didn't get the thumbs up, why I'm not getting the thumbs up. But then ultimately I thought ki I need to change myself. So now I get to the SSB, how it happened, and I'll tell you how you need to, what are you doing here, and how I applied those things there in my SSB. So when I reached Allahabad on 25th, so 26th was my SSB. So there, the reporting was of 222 girls. It was another shock for me, because in my last SSB there were only 91 girls in Bhopal. So in Allahabad there were 222 girls. So I was like, oh my god, that is too difficult. And my test number was 197. Well, okay, it's difficult. Then my first test was OIR. We were given 25 minutes to 30 minutes to complete those 50 OIRs. Then in that case I was able to complete before time, 5 minutes early. I completed all those OIRs. And to be honest, you can practice those like just before 5 days of your SSB. I suggest you just give time to those OIRs, because it is very important, because you are busy in coaching, you are busy doing those stats, VATs, and all those site tests and interviews and group discussions. You're not able to get time for that. But then last 5 days you can practice those very thoroughly. It hardly takes 2 to 3 hours if you just give a sitting, and you get on those tips. There are very easy questions there, but then I think that makes a very major role, that plays really major role. Then after completing those OIRs, then it was our PPD team. Since there were so many girls, and my group had all the repeaters and the girls who were married out. So when we were there was a picture where a girl was standing on a bridge, and it was a very hazy picture where I thought it was a picture of a stadium, and it might be a picture of a bridge. So the best thing that happened in our Amas is that when sir gives a thumbs up, you get an idea from the girls or boys who write the best stories. So you can pick those, stories there. By the time I was in my SSB, I have almost practiced 70 tat pictures along with the PPDP. So this, and I wrote all those, best themes that I could have grasped from the group and from my ideas, which I think they were given the thumbs up to. So the first thing you should all do is that you prepare a list of all those pictures description and write the best theme. That okay, if the girl and a boy is doing something, okay, what theme I can put. So this might help you in the end on the day before your TAT or your psych test. Then comes the narration part. We were 20 girls in a group, and they all were really good. Their stories were really good. My story, I was like it was good, but then when I heard everybody, so you tend to feel somewhere or the other you lack, but then it was fine. Narration part was good. They divided the group into two. So in my group, I initiated. I said, okay, girls, let's first decide the profession. So like this, you can start. Let's decide the profession. Let's decide the characters and so on. So by the time we 10 were discussing, everybody was listening to me. You should be very vocal about it. Don't shout, but then you should be vocal. There were 5 judges who were officers who were judging us. So that was also a pressure. But ultimately, our result took too much time. Like it took 5 hours to, announce our result. And server was also waiting for our result. Ki abhi tak aaya kyun nahi? Because it comes in hour or two. But then it took 5 hours to announce our result, and we were waiting like anything. Okay, so they started announcing the result, and they randomly announced the names. And when they reach 180, then they again start from the starting numbers. And I was like, okay, I'm not gonna get selected this time, but because the competition was too tough. But then suddenly when they announced 197, and I was like, wow, I did it. And it's all because of sir, because that confidence, how you, narrate those stories and how you write those stories is only when you practice here. And it has actually changed my mind. Okay, that was of day one. Then comes the psych test. Then psych is basically, we have 4 things. Sir has made us practice numerous pictures, and I think ऐसी कोई picture नहीं थी जो वहाँ पे मतलब there were 2 to 3 pictures which actually I practiced in Namas, and they actually came in those in SSB as well. So I already gave you the tips about the jitni pictures you have practiced till now. You please write the description and write the theme which you think it can suit there. And to be honest, in my last SSB, I have written the most negative stories ever. And when I came here, then I realized, okay, there's something, there's a problem in my head that I need to change my mindset. I literally euthanized people. I literally, killed people, murdered them, and I did all possible things. And then in the end, I was the one who used to save them. Then I was being taught, "Nee, Muskan, this is your mindset. You are murdering people. So I should not be doing this." So that you need to practice the way you have been taught here, and yes, you need to empower it. And in tat, yes, I have imported the character from outside also. That is also the one thing. If you see your gender character in a vulnerable position, you should never take that. That was the thing which I kept in my mind, and then I used it there, and I actually used it. So that I can just give you the small example of it, then I'll move forward faster, because there was a picture where there was a girl who was it was a courtroom scene where a girl was standing on a witness box, and there was a police officer who was being questioned by a advocate. So I could be neither of them, because girl looked gloomy. So in that case, I made myself judge, that she listened to both the parties, and then she decided on the basis of that. That is how you can import the character in the story. And this is something which that is instant. You cannot pre-prepare those things, but that these things are instant, and you can keep those tidbits in your mind. Then comes a VAT. That is again your practice. You're like how you handle the negative words, and I was able to complete all those 60 words on time because we practiced it a lot. Sir also used to give us on a practice session. Then SRTs also, I was able to complete all the 60s. Earlier, I used to complete only 50 SRTs and 55, but then there was some repetitive. Just stick to the answers which you have already performed the SRTs, because there would be repetitive SRTs also. So just you are also like you all know that you have to stick to the previous answers. they check your consistency. My psych test was overall good, and I was satisfied about it. But then you don't know what the psych is thinking about you. Then comes your GTO. My since I was the like my like after getting screened, my number was test number was 38. So my interview was shifted to the last day. So by the time like girls used to come back, they used to tell, Acha, they are asking this question, this question, this question. I used to get panic. So don't get panic. That is something which you need to keep yourself calm. So I'll tell about the GTO, the group discussion part. They started with the group discussion, and it was very light. Like they asked about the two, like what are the like what adds to the stress to the women. They gave you the three leads. Just pick the one and then start with it. In our group, since we all were the repeaters, so we just did, okay, let's start one by one, and then in the end we all clubbed together. That was the way we did our group discussion. And then there was on Atmanirbhar Bharat, that Atmanirbhar Bharat has an effect on which all things, our relation with the foreign in like foreign nation, or with like it has an effect on defense or on an economy. I was the only one in the group who was favoring defense. Rest everybody was in favor of economy. I said the concept of Atmanirbhar Bharat has came from defense itself after the clash between India and China. But nobody was ready to listen. Just put forward your point. Even if people gonna punch at you that no, you are wrong, you say nothing. You just put forward your point, and just like quote, like you can quote things and they actually work. Give good examples, live examples, because nobody gonna ask you. And I did that there. And just that trick, test number so and so, your point is very good. And I literally seen people getting quiet there when you quote them with their chess numbers. Then comes your GP. I was the one in the group who was being nominated by the group, okay, to narrate the common story. And there were some girls who were interrupting me in between. So please don't do that. And to be honest, those two girls were not being selected because they were being considered as bossy. So if you have chosen someone to narrate the like final narration of the GPE, then in that case, let that person speak. If in the end they ask you that, do you agree with it? Then that's your choice. You want to add on to some points, but don't interrupt in between. But give your points. Since we all were the repeaters, so there was a hustle, and they were all wanted to give their points, but then we made it. Then comes your group obstacle. Just know your strength. One thing, just know your strength. You are good in what thing. I took charge of two things. I was the one who was repeating the slogan loudly, and I used to speak. My whole team used to repeat after me. And secondly, what you can do is, if like there is a wall climbing and all, if you think you can push the person, just take that duty. And if you can pull the person on the wall, then take that duty. Just see your strength. What are your strengths, and keep motivating others. Once you get on the other side of the wall or any obstacle, then you just motivate the others, okay, you can do it. Then comes your PGT and HGTs. To be honest, I was the one who was in the middle of those PGT and HGT. Like sir told, once he says start, just pick up any those helping material. Don't stand at the back. It actually worked. And where the girls were being bossy, I used to shout my idea. Okay, we can do this. But once that idea, the girls used, like the one day used to give, and it's not working. Literally, GTO interrupted in between and said, "Somebody gave this idea. Please come forward." And I automatically came forward. And this is how you can, outshine in, PGT and HGT. Just be vocal and tell, we can do this also. You can switch places. If somebody is very reluctant not switching the place, just give your ideas. GTO will definitely look at those ideas. We had two GTOs who was persistently looking at us and observing us, and that was something very scary for us. Then same goes for the HGD. The things you have done here, like sir, those like all the structures that he taught, they are there, they're actually there. Even if you cannot relate them, you can know the fulcrum, effort, and load. I swear, I was the one in my last SSB who didn't even perform a single PGT, and I was not even able to do my command task. And I was so happy once I was able to do my PGT and HGT. I was like, oh my god, I did it, and I was so happy about it because sir told, and जो structures सर वहाँ थे, जो सर दिखाते थे online, I used to draw them on my notebook. I literally drew those structures and वहां पे भी मैं वो लेकर गई थी, रिवाइज की है मैंने वहां जाने से पहले. That day only they took a lecturate. I tell you the very funny story, and sir will also smile the same on this. While there were lecturate practices, one way or the other, my out of 4 topics, one topic used to be women empowerment. Anything related to women, crime against women, women empowerment, like women related any topic. So he even asked me to do one like a crime against women. I narrate
Nirbhaya Act, Nirbhaya Act.
yes, sir, Nirbhaya Act. That I have taken the class on this act, and you won't believe when I was there, I just picked up my card, read all the 4 topics. The last topic was women empowerment. And I literally laughed there. I was so happy at that point of time. I could not even, express that, oh my God, I got something which I always wanted. I was so happy. This even happened when I was there in a physical 1 day practice at a mass. Also, there also I got this topic only. And there I got that point. And I started with that only ki खूब लड़ी मर्दानी थी झांसी वाली रानी थी. The other side of the shed people, after we came back to our room, they said, Muskan, we heard that you were speaking Jhansi ki Rani wala. So that was something very good, because I was very happy and confident. So be prepared about your lecturate. By the end of my going to the SSB, my 55 topics were ready, which we practiced in a mass. And I prepared those topics which I knew nothing about them. Ultimately you will something or the other among the 4 topics, but then prepare those topics which you think you don't have a command on. Know something about, you cannot know everything about everything, but something about everything. That is also something sir only told us. Then the next day we only had 3 tasks. Individual obstacle. The This time I was able to do 8 of them, and one I fell down, and that was the Tarzan jump. I literally fell from that. I literally was not able to, but I did Tiger Leap. That was another big accomplishment of my life. Without hurting my hands, I literally jumped on. I went on that obstacle, and I literally, looked at that obstacle for around 10 to 20 seconds, and I said, okay, I'm gonna jump it. And I jumped and I held it. Don't slither down, you're gonna hurt your hand. Just slowly go down. And very importantly, I start with the first number obstacle. Just see the sequence and then do it. Don't haphazardly do any of it, because you will waste your time like that. And the obstacles in the 11 SSB, since I was in 11 SSB, those obstacles were quite stable than the one in Bhopal. So I even did the commando walk very confidently. So you just need to be very strong. You must have a strong arms, and then you should know how to balance yourself. You need to make your hands much more stronger, because those rope activities need more strength in your hands. And I used to do gym for 1.5 hours every day, keeping my hands more stronger and making my upper body more stronger. So my obstacles were fairly good. I was satisfied. I was not able to do one optional, since girls have 2 optional. One is the double ditch is optional for you, and the second is the tiger leap. So I did the tiger leap because I was confident about it, but I didn't do the double jump, like double ditch, because that's too scary for me. So don't do the things which you think you cannot do. Just do those which you are very confident about it, and just make the sequence properly. Then comes a command task. I swear I don't know what happened. I was being called last, and my heart was like this. I give you one small suggestion, and this would help all of you. That is, in a command task, what happened is we usually select 2 people. Every time, every person used to call only those 2 people. But in our group, what happened? Every person called every, by the end, everybody has two points in their hand that everybody will call twice. I was being called twice in my group. I was not being called since I was very good in PGT, but nobody called me for more than that, because they have friends and they call twice everybody. So by the end, I was the last person. I called one girl who was not being called by anyone, so I called her. Okay, you please come. And sir literally asked me, why have you chosen this? So I was like, sir, one is my friend and the other one has a good strength. So you need to have a strong reason why you are choosing such a person. My command task was very, very difficult. Very difficult. So by the time he was explaining me the whole task, I was confused where to make the effort, fulcrum, and load. I was so shocked. Then by the time I was about to call my all the like both the subordinates, I literally stared at that. Kahan se shuru karu main? They grilled me in between. They try to distract you. Don't get distracted. Just focus on it and just keep in mind ki fulcrum effort load kahan lagna hai. My fulcrum effort load was on a side. It was not straight. It was on the side. So you need to be very vigilant there. And they literally asked me in the middle, okay, two of you please move forward. Me and my one subordinate move forward. He said, why are you going? Why are you not sending a subordinate in both the subordinates? I said, sir, that was I would be at the vulnerable position if I would be standing at the back and guiding my subordinates. At least it is my task. I should do it and take the help of my subordinate. So this would be, they will try to put situations in between. They didn't remove those bali fata from, they didn't like उन्होंने मुझसे लिया, but they have added more situation to it कि how I react in such a way, because both the GTOs were grilling me. Just stay strong there. Then now last is your FGT final group task. To be honest, my team, since they say it's a final FGT, what you can do is you can just give your best. But to be honest, I didn't do anything in that because some girls were so overpowering me at that time. I was literally standing at the back. I just shouted my idea, but they were not even ready to listen. Okay, we'll take that idea. So but by that time, I was very confident that my rest of the G was really good. And one more thing, small in a group like GTO ask you should literally change the sequence. Here we did is your name, your designation, your place of birth, your father and mother, your hobbies. There they didn't ask about your father and mother. And they were so quick in telling those things, I was able to grasp that. And I told them about my parents also there. So there I heard, okay, I made a mistake. So please be sure that whatever they are asking for, you just answer those things. In a final group task, I said it was a 0%, like my contribution was 0%, and then I was satisfied with my overall performance. Then came my interview. It was for 1 hour. My interview. It was entirely on my PIQ. I was literally waiting for the general knowledge questions. I was really waiting for the law related or related to the army, but they didn't ask me a single question about it. So one suggestion that I would give you: know yourself thoroughly, because they can ask you anything about you, anything. So in my interview, they literally grilled me. Since I'm a master, I did my master's last year, so they asked me about my master thesis, what is all about. Since it was on animal rape and all those, it was something new for him. Then he asked about my job. You should know everything about your job. And if there, since I was a medical, like I did my +1 +2 in medical, so they asked me why there is a shift in the subject, so you should know why you have shifted it. So what answer I gave was like, sir, my passion was animals. I love animals, but my parents told me there is a difference between passion and profession. So passion you can follow any time point of time, but profession, once you choose it, it stays for your life. So I chose a profession which is like, I love speaking, public speaking, and all those things. So I chose advocacy as my profession. So I realized it that I'm good in public speaking and I can put forward my point. I can convince people on it. So I chose this. So passion, loving animals, doing something for them, you can do it side by side also. Singing, dancing, and all those things you can do side by side. So that was the thing. Then they will ask you everything about your parents, family, and whatever you have practiced in here, all those questions will be repeated there. But some like, since you are from an army background, then you should know everything about your father, his post, everything. Since my father is a businessman, and they didn't ask me a single question about they just asked me about my father's business, and that's it, but they didn't went more into it. Now the very important question is, do you have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? That is very important, and you need to handle it very judiciously, because some girls have literally, कहते हैं ना, अपना शादी का कार्ड छपवाए थी वो अंदर. they have literally, and a discussion over for 30 minutes with them. Like they came out, but you need to be very smart. You need to be very, very smart. They asked me, I said, yes, sir, I'm single. So he said, that means you must have been in a relation earlier. So I was like, yes, sir, I had feelings for someone, but now we are friends because it didn't work out. It just went for another 1 minute. Uske baad, he didn't grill me on this point. He even asked me that 377 is legal. So are you interested in girls? But no, no, sir. I'm not. I'm a straight person and I like boys only. So it is in your hands where you take it. Some girls like they literally tell their boyfriends are in army. So he grilled on the basis of that, he in which post, what rank he holds, in which regiment. So why you need to even focus on those things? Just shun that question out. Apart from that, just know more about your hobbies, your reading habits, and everything. Just know about your city, the freedom fighters. They literally asked me about the freedom fighters of my city. I was not aware about it. I said, sorry, sir, I don't know. He said, then how can you say you are very keen to join army? Sir, with passage of time, my reading enhanced. I started with reading famous five, and now I've shifted to Sydney Sheldon, the self-help books. So maybe with passage of time, my reading habits will increase, and I read much more better books. But this is something I took him to the long journey of my reading because I was gifted by my father. So he was moved by it. Then he asked me just one question about Jack. Okay, tell me about what do you know about Jack? I told him that what it holds and what are the positions and everything. Then he said, okay. He said whether JAG is for these officers supports the government or the defense services, like the defense officials who are being prosecuted. I was not aware about it. So I said, sorry, sir, I won't give the wrong answer. The things which are available on the internet portal and best to my knowledge, I can answer those things. And there they put full stop, and they didn't ask me any further question on that. So my interview was very personal, but I was a little bit disappointed because they literally asked me in the end, okay, anything we have missed on to. I said, sir, you didn't ask me any law question or general knowledge or any question related to army. He said, no, I'm satisfied. So I did one mistake. Don't press on it. I did it. And sir also told me once that just stay calm. Don't get excited about it. I literally pressed onto it. No, sir, you may ask one if you want. That was wrong there. I think I have committed a mistake, but thank God he didn't grill me on that point. He said, any suggestion you would like to give? So don't what I did, I again, since I was not happy with my interview, I told them, sir, there was an electric shock in the bathroom and the water doesn't taste good. But then it is not positive for everybody. That Colonel Sir will tell you in what all instances you can tell them about the, lacunas and flaws. Since we literally got the electric shock, I told him, and that was something genuine. I said, sir, I'm so sorry. You life is much more important. So I think this should be in your knowledge. You need to be very good in playing with the words there and know about your city. Of course, since it is Bhopal, Allahabad, or Bangalore, you need to know something about that place because they're gonna ask you the comparison. They literally asked me, "What is your first impression about Allahabad?" I was again being very honest there. I said, "Sir, from the airport till the I reach my friend's home, I think it needs more development." I was being very honest. So then he said, "Okay, tell why your Jalandhar is very, you know, very good, or how it is better than Allahabad." So I said, sir, there are 800 hospitals in in Jalandhar. So he noted those things points. So know much more about your city so that you can counter. Yes, sir, my city is better than that. So this was my overall interview, and it was very light. And I even cracked some small jokes in it. Like he literally asked me about my school. So I told him my friends used to call me DPS because I'm an animal lover. So whenever there is a frog in the class, I used to pick them from my hand and then I used to throw them out. So they used to call me Daddu Pakro service. So he laughed on that. You can add certain, humor in your, if you can, control that only till that. So he laughed on that point, and then it was a light interview. Conference day. Conference day was before I was being called, they literally took 15 minutes, and my heart was like pumping so fast. Why they are not even calling me inside? Am I a doubtful case? Because girls used to go in and come out in a very swift manner. They took 15 minutes. In 15 minutes, they have already done more than 5 to 6 girls. I was like, something issue with me. I went inside. All the officers were sitting. And what I felt is like you only focus on one officer who is asking you who is asking you the questions. I was not able to see all the people who were sitting there. So they asked me about my journey, how I traveled, and how like here you need to be very vigilant again. Just focus on the food you eat there. They literally asked me about what did you eat, what is the food you eat in last 5 days. So since I was eating, I was very happy. So I told them, sir, this was the menu. And sir said, any suggestion for the food menu? So the food was really wonderful and I enjoyed it. Again, I added some little bit of humor here. I said, sir, since I was losing my weight for SSB, I shunned my sweets. So I enjoyed the sweets and dessert here. So they again, there was a small smile. So you need to know where to add humor and where not to. And that is how. And he said, any suggestions? Okay, thank you. You may go. And I was again doubtful. Okay, ab kya hoga? Like they didn't ask me. Sir told there are three cases. If you are a borderline case, then they'll grill you inside. If you are not being selected, then they'll ask you the same questions, the one which are being asked. To the station, the results, and we get girls recommended. I was late because I was in the last in November. Ultimately it was a good experience. And yes, they confidently asked me, okay, rate your in my contents, and also in the interview they asked me, okay, which was the best day? I said, sir, my GTO was the best. I told them my previous SSB experience, how my previous SSB was really blunderous and how my current SSB was there. And my GTO even asked me about, okay, how did you prepare? So I mentioned, sir, I took the online coaching. So he said, you know all these PGT and HGT through online only? I said, yes, sir. Our guide was really good. He used to tell us properly, and whatever he used to say, I used to jot down. He said, very good. And don't get trapped by very good and excellent there. Even if you commit the mistake, don't get trapped by it. Just be focused on what you're saying. They will say good and wonderful, excellent on everything you do. Whether you're doing wrong, they will say wonderful at that point also. Please don't go on that. Even in interview, they will trap you in those questions very nicely. They will say wonderful, excellent. And in my last interview, I was very open to them. I was not even supposed to say certain things which I told them when they were so happy, and because they will get things out from you. So just keep that in mind. Don't say everything. Just be manipulative. I was very manipulative in my interview, because not manipulative, it's not a right word to say, but I was very judicious while answering. What they are asking, I should only answer that, and just I have to keep myself quiet after that. By the time everything was happening, we in our dormitories, we were very we used to help each other. Like once I got recommended, there were some girls from the NCC. I helped them out with those logics, and they literally applied there. And one girl, and some said, okay, we'll join this, because the kind of coaching we all are getting here, I swear, even if I get merit in or merit out, that's immaterial. But getting recommendation is something very big thing. So I would say, guys, all the very best. Read something or the other, it will enhance. Every time I go to the Delhi airport, I purchase 3 to 4 books because I love reading. So just read one book, like you love it. You'll really enjoy. That's making your mood light, and doing the homeworks on time, making your proper schedule, timetable, everything. That is, you should all do. Like, it is important, and I'm on track. Even if my family is not in army, I'm from a civilian background. I was being put on track, and I think I'm a much more human now, because I wake up early now. I get a habit, because 21 days makes a habit. That's why this concept of 21 days is here in Ammas. So I wish you all the best. Just start preparing the way I told you. Practice the words and SRTs. Just make sure that you are very good in your speaking skills. Why speaking skills? Because they are most of the things are here speaking. Physically, you can all go for running and you can join the gym. End of the day, I think you can all do better because of plays. I think it's the best choice I have ever made in my life. And to be honest, everything.
Your mic
Thank you
is
so
being.
much, guys. Am I
Thank you
audible?
so much. Yeah, you're audible. Thank you so much, Muskan, for that
Thank you so much.
complete
Sorry.
complete
Yes,
rundown.
sir.
Complete rundown. I was so mesmerized listening to continuously listening to your experience. Right, so I did not even intervene. Okay, so great. So anyone wants to ask
Yes,
anything
sir.
specifically? Otherwise, I think she has covered everything in so much depth and detail that I think I feel that there should be no question. However, if you have, please, you are most welcome to ask her anything. Yeah, I think whatever they're typing is thanks a lot, right? Because Muskan, you have really indeed covered everything, and mm, for the students, there three of them were there, and all three made it. It was a great news for me